Welcome to episode 3 of our series on carbon farming. Today we'll delve into the policies, incentives and market opportunities shaping carbon farming, focusing on government support, policy frameworks and financial incentives. We'll also compare approaches between the European Union and the United States. Carbon farming refers to agricultural methods that enhance the uptake and storage of carbon dioxide in soil. Plants absorb carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, and when plant matter decomposes, it's converted into soil carbon by microbes, effectively storing carbon dioxide in the soil as organic matter. The European Union has been proactive in promoting carbon farming as part of its climate strategy. This approach is not just about reducing emissions, but also about enhancing the resilience of agricultural systems. By integrating carbon farming into its broader environmental policies, the EU aims to create a sustainable and climate-resilient agricultural sector. This involves a combination of policy measures, financial incentives, and technical support to ensure that farmers can effectively implement carbon farming practices. The European Commission defines carbon farming as a green business model that rewards land managers for practices that increase carbon sequestration in biomass and soils. This includes techniques such as cover cropping, agroforestry and reduced tillage, which not only capture carbon but also improve soil health and biodiversity. By adopting these practices, farmers can contribute to the EU's climate goals while also benefiting from healthier, more productive land. This initiative aligns with the EU's goal of achieving climate neutrality by 2050. The EU's climate strategy outlines a comprehensive plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across all sectors, with agriculture playing a key role. Carbon farming is seen as a vital component of this strategy, helping to offset emissions from other sectors and move the EU closer to its climate targets. To support this, the EU is developing a regulatory framework for certifying carbon removals, ensuring transparency and integrity in carbon farming practices. This framework will include standardized methods for measuring and verifying carbon sequestration, as well as guidelines for reporting and monitoring. By establishing clear rules and standards, the EU aims to build trust and credibility in carbon farming, making it an attractive option for farmers and investors alike. Financial incentives are also being integrated into the common agricultural policy, encouraging farmers to adopt sustainable practices that contribute to carbon sequestration. These incentives include direct payments, grants and subsidies for implementing carbon farming techniques. By providing financial support, the EU aims to lower the barriers to entry for farmers, making it easier for them to transition to more sustainable practices. This not only helps to mitigate climate change, but also supports the long-term viability and resilience of the agricultural sector. Carbon farming opens up various revenue streams for farmers. One significant opportunity is the generation of carbon credits. By implementing practices that sequester carbon, farmers can earn credits that can be sold in carbon markets to companies aiming to offset their emissions. This not only provides an additional income source, but also incentivizes sustainable farming practices. Moreover, there's a growing market for sustainably produced products. Consumers are increasingly willing to pay a premium for goods produced with environmentally friendly methods, allowing farmers to tap into niche markets and enhance their profitability. While both the EU and the US recognize the importance of carbon farming, their approaches differ. Carbon farming, which involves practices that sequester carbon dioxide in the soil, is seen as a crucial strategy in combating climate change. However, the methods and policies to support this practice vary significantly between these two regions. The EU has taken a methodical route, prioritizing the creation of a solid framework to define, certify and track carbon removals before providing major financial support. This approach ensures that the carbon farming practices are standardized and verifiable, which is essential for maintaining the integrity of the carbon credits market. This includes the development of the carbon removals and carbon farming certification framework. The framework aims to provide clear guidelines and criteria for carbon farming projects, ensuring that they deliver real, measurable and long-term carbon sequestration benefits. In contrast, the US has adopted a more proactive funding approach. The US government has been more aggressive in allocating funds to kickstart carbon farming initiatives. aiming to accelerate the adoption of these practices across the country. Following the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's 2018 report, the US government allocated substantial funds for carbon removal research, development and demonstration. This funding has been crucial in advancing the technology and practices needed for effective carbon farming. Legislations like the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law have provided billions in funding for carbon dioxide removal and its enabling infrastructure. This law represents a significant investment in the future of carbon farming and other carbon removal technologies, highlighting the US's commitment to addressing climate change. Additionally, tax incentives such as the 45Q tax credit have been expanded to encourage direct air capture initiatives. These incentives make it financially viable for companies to invest in carbon farming and other carbon removal technologies, further driving innovation and adoption in the sector. Both the EU and the US recognize that farmers play a critical role in carbon sequestration. By adopting practices such as cover cropping, reduced tillage, and agroforestry, farmers can significantly increase the amount of carbon stored in the soil. These practices not only help mitigate climate change, but also improve soil health and agricultural productivity. Despite their different approaches, the ultimate goal of both the EU and the US is to create sustainable and effective carbon farming systems. By learning from each other's successes and challenges, both regions can enhance their policies and practices, contributing to global efforts to combat climate change. Despite the opportunities, several challenges exist in implementing carbon farming. Measurement, reporting, and verification of carbon sequestration can be complex, requiring robust systems to ensure accuracy and prevent greenwashing. There's also the issue of permanence. Carbon stored in soils can be released back into the atmosphere if not managed properly. Moreover, the costs associated with adopting new practices and the need for technical knowledge can be barriers for some farmers. The future of carbon farming looks promising, with increasing support from governments around the world. Policies are being crafted to incentivize farmers to adopt sustainable practices, and these initiatives are gaining momentum. Governments are recognizing the dual benefits of carbon farming. It not only helps in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but also enhances soil health and boosts agricultural productivity. This holistic approach is essential for creating a sustainable future for our planet. The growing market demand for sustainable products is another driving force behind the rise of carbon farming. Consumers are becoming more conscious of their environmental footprint and are actively seeking out products that are produced sustainably. This shift in consumer behavior is encouraging businesses to adopt eco-friendly practices and source their products from carbon-conscious farms. The market for sustainable products is expanding rapidly, creating new opportunities for farmers who are willing to embrace carbon farming techniques. Collaborations between public and private sectors are essential to develop comprehensive policies that support carbon farming. These partnerships bring together the expertise and resources of various stakeholders, including government agencies, private companies, and non-profit organizations. By working together, they can create a supportive ecosystem that encourages the adoption of carbon farming practices. This collaborative approach ensures that policies are well-rounded and address the needs of all parties involved. Providing the necessary financial and technical support to farmers is crucial for the success of carbon farming initiatives. Farmers need access to funding to invest in new technologies and practices that reduce carbon emissions. Additionally, they require technical assistance to implement these practices effectively. Governments and private organizations are stepping up to offer grants, loans, and training programs to help farmers transition to carbon farming. This support is vital for ensuring that farmers can adopt sustainable practices without facing financial hardships. As both the EU and the US continue to refine their approaches to carbon farming, they are setting examples for other regions to follow. These regions are developing policies that incentivize sustainable farming practices and provide support to farmers. By learning from each other's experiences, they can create more effective and efficient policies that drive the adoption of carbon farming on a global scale. Sharing best practices and lessons learned will be crucial in advancing carbon farming globally. International conferences and summits provide platforms for farmers, policymakers, and researchers to exchange knowledge and experiences. These events foster collaboration and innovation, helping to spread successful carbon farming techniques across the world. By learning from each other, countries can accelerate the adoption of sustainable practices and make significant progress in the fight against climate change. That concludes today's episode on policies, incentives, and market opportunities in carbon farming. We hope you found the information insightful and inspiring. The future of carbon farming is bright, and with continued support and collaboration, we can create a more sustainable and resilient agricultural system. Join us next time as we explore the practical aspects of implementing carbon farming practices on the ground. We'll delve into the techniques and technologies that farmers are using to reduce their carbon footprint and improve their yields. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to having you with us on our next episode.